Welcome to the 2024 YouTube Relay Reveal, or as we like to call it, kind of a nickname, the 2023 uh, YouTube Relay Reveal. Anyway, I received a text that was written in Yaatlaw by Miles Wronkovich. This is a language that was created by Miles and Jake Penny on their YouTube series, Let's Have a Booba. Or wait, no. No, actually, I think it was created before the YouTube series. But anyway, they have a YouTube series called Let's Have a Booba. Anyway, before getting into it, I think I would like to start with my opening tirade. Two things. Number one, when you are participating in a Conlang relay and you send a text with grammatical information, it should be the case that, once you decipher the text, it'll be like, what? That's weird. Frogs aren't supposed to wear hats, something like that. It shouldn't be the case that it's like, wait a minute, there's only one verb in this sentence and it's intransitive, and yet there's five nominal arguments in this sentence, and all of them are in the nominative, even though this language has like 17 cases. Um, that's the kind of weird that it shouldn't be. That means that you've made a serious mistake, either in your documentation or perhaps in your translation, but my guess is usually it's the latter. The person should be able to figure out your text. Anyway, that aside, I did receive a text which I guess I'll show you on the screen. Um, let's see how I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do this like this. This has my notes for translation, and I'm just going to show it to you briefly. And I'm just going to give you one example here of something that I I mean, this is the best I could do with this translation. There's one particular sentence. I know it. A fast river has visions. In order for the river's death to flow, one who is a river makes 72. In order to have visions, the shaman believes you. And this is all supposed to be one sentence. There is clearly something very, very wrong here. And it's not the type of thing that's like, oh, this language is being cheeky. No, there's something very wrong in the documentation. Anyway, what I managed to get from it was this. So I'll go ahead and read you the English that I was able to get out of this. Of a sudden, you have a vision as if you were prey. It is a vision of a river that has ripped the hands off of the parents of a baby with a tooth. It's the baby that has the tooth. Yes, you dream of these parents. You ask yourself, how can you hear the voice of a river? What spirit is causing this? When will you be able to have your own dreams again? Do you owe it to the river to listen? Whom do you owe? And now you want to rip the hands off that baby that you might hear more from the river. I know that a fast river delivers visions so that its flow might continue unabated. A river needs many hands in order to deliver a vision, said the druid who believed you. Do you want to know how the druid heard you? And by the way, this is, I guess, a retranslation. I replaced shaman with druid. You'll see why in a minute. Druids do not want to have visions. They stopped ripping. Sorry, thought I could get through this. They stopped ripping off people's hands and torturing everyone in order to make the river float. In order to stop being blind, they must have visions. So you ripped off your own two hands in order to put a stop to your visions and to make the blind druid suffer for having a vision. Hear me. You're going to want to clean up. So take this shovel and bury all the hands near a log with too much moss. So that's what we got here. That's what I got out of it. Yeah, there's a lot that's wrong there. Anyway, it was originally translated as shaman, but I translated it to druid, and I guess I did it in that version. I wasn't supposed to do that yet. Anyway, it's supposed to read shaman. I translated it to druid because I decided to use a language that I was a big fan of, that I created. I created a language called Nolith for the Shannara Chronicles. or the Shannara Chronicles, if you stress it correctly. A series which ended original programming on two different networks. MTV, where it aired its first season. After the first season was done, MTV said, you know what, maybe making original programming was a mistake and just canceled everything, all original programming. And then for season two, it moved to Spike. And then at the end of its second season, Spike said, you know what, maybe it's a mistake for us to be a network. And it ceased being a network. Uh, Suffice it to say that not many people saw this television show and appreciated the language, which also wasn't used very much, or I think in a very interesting way. A lot, especially the first season, a lot of the material was spoken by a character that was wearing a pretty thick mask, and they kind of masked his voice. They modified his voice a little bit, so you could honestly barely hear it. It sounded just like mush, and I think it would have been the case that it would have sounded like mush too, even if the Dagmar were speaking English. Anyway, so I have made a textual reveal here, and I'm going to do my darndest to read it aloud, though it's quite difficult. Let's uh, let's give it a shot. Um, Here it is, the mighty language Nolith. Prepare yourselves for it. Oh, and I see that certain parts of the screen are covering what I need to be reading. This will really be interesting. Thumbek hianai sesef, Jesus sef mara. Tianai serach ngeet oth thalarasha, uyicheth an ishadasha, nayan budges eich dekach. I gotta press it over here. Thu, he jotham sef an ishadasha ash. He yora sef tsadas, ten thaik thun och he yombala sef I Joseph ngeet. Ten koth ortheth, he yojin shash. Ten lanoth bioth, he jotham bala sef I shadas ranish. Toth he sholem thunath sef I jayet. Tenis yodash. Erak, hish u yolasha I yicheth nayan. Aran bashef ihe thungeet ranish. Verek leedrek. Enisa, I think that's a G. Enisa geet tel yenaiser. Ihe engorna. Theshuva. Ernad geet yicheth yik ihe enisa yenaiser. Toth hipal sif like aram uleedrak shif. Miledriha an Eren Yenaiser, Mimer Theek Sholashayar, Picha Shithoder, Iha Vosheva Ujayet, Basheren Ledriha Yenaiser Iha Isbala. Ishel hi Sholasha, Sef Sayicheth Nyagash, Ihamir sa Yenaiser Vohagad. Vohagad, right. Ujedrak Yesher ista Yenaiser. Eyonshi. Hi Yoshaiga. Thernasef Iyöle Ash Ishel Eyaich Wathat. Ash Ere Shaf Sim Picha Buth Badges Jerk Bayer Mera. And there you have the beautiful Nolith language that died before it even lived. Anyway, I was waiting for George to give me some sort of response here to see if I was supposed to read you the English translation of my own text. But he hasn't responded. And guess how many minutes it's been? Guess how many minutes it's been? It has been, look at that, 12 minutes. Absurd, ridiculous. Wait a minute. No, that was 12 minutes since my last text. Since my first text, it has been 19 minutes. Disgraceful, ridiculous, absurd. I'm also going to say this about conlang relays in general. If you're going to run a conlang relay, the text should be at maximum 8 middling sized sentences, and that's it. This text was enormous. Like it was at least twice as long as any relay text should be. And I think that's a mistake. It's a terrible mistake. Relay text, they got to be short with some varied, interesting features in there and with a healthy crop of vocabulary, but really not basically if you're going to have X amount of vocabulary um, in 8 sentences or half X vocabulary in 16 sentences, you should do the first option, not the second. That is my grumpy old man opinion about conlang relays. Um, and I've been around the block. I think my first relay was relay 4. I wasn't there for relay 1 or relay 2 or 3 or like the relay half or the Pi Planet replay. Nobody even or relay. Nobody knows what that is. But I've been around the block. So anyway, there it is, the 2023 YouTube Conlang Relay held in 2024. May it live in infamy.